Neighbor Kelly Little had few answers for the FBI and just as many questions herself. She said until recently there were pro-Trump signs in the Crooks' front yard.
There absolutely was MAGA supporting things for a while.
We are getting more information here at the MeidasTouch network about the identity, the background of the shooter and the shooter's family at Trump's Butler, Pennsylvania rally. Of course, you now know the shooter who was neutralized on scene. His name was Thomas Matthew Crooks. He's 20 years old, of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. We previously reported that he is a registered Republican. Last time he voted was in the closed Republican primaries in Pennsylvania in 2022. Again, white male, 20 years old, a gun nut. Someone who wears the Second Amendment paraphernalia. When he was neutralized at the scene of the shooting, he was wearing the shirt of a gun club that Don Jr. has frequented before and has promoted before. Now we are learning, based on a scoop by some really good local media out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that the family of the shooter had Trump signs on and around their property for many years, according to many neighbors who were there. This is what we learned moments ago. Good scoop here. Let's play it.
Investigators dressed in plain clothes as well as FBI agents approach this house. That's where the family of Thomas Crooks lives, which is right here on Milford Drive. Then we started to see those agents going door to door, canvassing the neighborhood and speaking with people who live here. They're trying to get answers to the many questions that still remain. Crooks's motive is still unclear. Records show he is a registered Republican, and neighbors today told us that they've actually seen Trump signs outside of the home over the course of the last few years.
That scoop comes from the local Pittsburgh news station, WPXI, right there. Also, we are learning that the individual who was also killed by Crooks, an individual by the name of Corey Comparatori, firefighter, a Trump supporter who was there at the event, who was killed protecting his family, that he had actually received, his family received a phone call from President Biden. Here's an article that was just recently released. Donald Trump never called the family of Comparatori, but President Biden called Corey Comparatori's family right away. Here's the article from CNN. Man killed at Trump rally identified as firefighter Corey Comparatori. And here it is in the article right here. Describing her late husband to the newspaper as a simple man, Helen Comparatori said he put his wife and kids first all the time. Quote, I didn't lift a finger, she said. He did everything. She also told the New York Post that President Joe Biden did try to call, but she doesn't want to speak to him. Quote, my husband was a devout Republican, and he would not have wanted me to talk to him. However, Helen Comparatori added she does not hold the current president responsible for what happened to her family. Why would she? I mean, he's nothing to do with it. It's a white Republican, 18-year-old AR-15 carrying male. However, Helen Comparatori added she does not hold Biden responsible. Quote, I don't have any ill will towards Joe Biden, she said. I'm not one of those people that gets involved in politics. I support Trump. That's who I'm voting for, but I don't have ill will towards Biden. Quote, he didn't do anything to my husband. A 20-year-old despicable kid did, she continued. The family has not heard from the former president, Donald Trump, she added. Speaking Sunday afternoon, Biden expressed his condolences to Comparatori's family. Just want you to think about that right now, that she got a call from President Biden reaching out to try to speak to her, to console her in her difficult time of grieving. She refused to pick up the phone call because her husband was a Trump supporter, and Donald Trump did not even give her a phone call to see how she was doing or to send his condolences to her. I think that says a lot right there. Should be noted as well that TMZ got its hands on some additional footage of the shooter as well. Here it is right here. Play the clip. And it's just disturbing and showing it just like a kid who clearly has serious problems. I shouldn't call him a kid. A 20-year-old white man who has real serious issues. Here, play this clip.
6'4". I go to Stanford University. I have a 10-inch penis. And
when you think about all of the propaganda, the Second Amendment fetishization that has existed by MAGA Republicans. Look, I've said before where I stand on the Second Amendment. I feel strongly that Americans have the right to own guns. I'm not anti-Second Amendment. I'm just for common sense gun control, common sense gun reform. I don't think there should be the proliferation of weapons of war, of people who shouldn't have it or who could be around it, with people accessing it who shouldn't be around it. And people who I know who, are gun owners, responsible gun owners, feel the same way. Yet over and over again, you've had Trump and MAGA basically push how they do not want any common sense gun control. Heck, at the RNC, where, by the way, their big chant right now is fight, fight, fight. That's what they keep saying over and over again. Fight, fight, fight. As President Biden calls for unity, that's what they're saying. Fight, fight, fight. They're giving away AR-15s at a raffle. Free AR-15s available at the RNC, and of course all the photos of all the MAGA Republicans with their AR-15 pins, where they replace their American flag pins with AR-15 pins that they would hand out and they would wear, which again I think is just truly despicable and just very, very odd. Want to share this with you as well. This is someone who was in the same high school as Thomas Matthew Crooks. Here's what this individual had to say about him. Here, play the clip.
He was bullied almost every day.
In what way? Can you explain?
He would sit alone at lunch. He was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, so they're going to see someone like that, and they're going to target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it. And it's honestly kind of sad. I don't want to say this is what provoked it, but you never know.
Yeah. You said he was a loner?
Yeah. I want to say he was a loner more because he was quiet, but he was just bullied. He was bullied so much.
This is high school?
Yeah.
What did they, do you remember at all what they said to him or called him?
No. He was just made fun of, I guess, for the way he dressed or his appearance.
And then over here, you have the crowd at the RNC chanting fight. Let me show you another clip of him here. Play the clip. Interestingly, by now you know that Donald Trump has selected J.D. Vance to be his vice presidential pick. This is how J.D. Vance described Donald Trump, just so you see Trump's behavior and what he does to people. J.D. Vance says, I'm not surprised. This was J.D. Vance's text message to his law school roommate. J.D. Vance wrote, but I'm not surprised by Trump's rise. I think the entire party has only itself to blame. We are, whether we like it or not, the party of lower income, lower education, white people. And I have been saying for a long time that we need to offer those people something in hell, maybe even expand our appeal to working class black people in the process, or a demagogue would. We are now at that point. Trump is the fruit of the party's collective neglect. I go back and forth thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler. How's that for discouraging? And that's what J.D. Vance sent to his roommate. J.D. Vance also removed posts that he had made about Donald Trump, saying, Trump makes people I care about afraid, immigrants, Muslims, etc. Because of this, I find him reprehensible. God wants better of us, he wrote. Here are other additional text messages. Are you planning to oppose? Yes, just as with the House version, I'll back off being super strident if I can convince a few members to kill it altogether, but they'll know how I feel. Haha, can you imagine running as an anti-AHCA populist who thinks Trump is a moral disaster? Where is my constituency? He said. And we have, by the way, and the reason why I'm showing you these J.D. Vance clips in this video, and what the statements that J.D. Vance is making is because, look, Donald Trump didn't even have the decency to call the family of his own supporters who have been so radicalized they won't even pick up the phone of President Biden, who is calling them to wish them, to send condolences and to send his heartfelt support. Trump refuses to call them. And, you know, with all of them, what MAGA tried to say, Joe Biden did this, Democrats did this. No, it was a Republican, white, conservative man, 20 years old, lived in a house with Trump flags. That's what's going on here. And I know the media is too afraid to talk about that, or they want to go into their narratives. Here's what Josh McLaurin says about Vance. I'm the guy J.D. Vance sent the America's Hitler text to in 2016. He was my roommate in law school. Obviously, he's a sellout. But the bigger deal is he's angry and vindictive, the perfect fit for Trump's revenge. JD's rise is a triumph of angry jerks everywhere. Angry jerks. That's why I always say, to me, this was never like even all about politics. To me, it was about just being good people and showing compassion and not bullying and you know, and when I saw all of the threats posed by MAGA over and over again, you know, it was kind of an apolitical just reprehensibility there. That's like, what are you even doing to the soul of our nation? And I'll just show you this. Remember, this is what happened at the end of Trump's speech or during Trump's speech when the shooting took place. And you'll see when Trump walks off and his response is fight. And that's why the crowd's now chanting fight. And Trump does that with he does this hand gesture. And I don't have to characterize the hand gesture. You just look at it for yourself and see what he's doing there. Play it.
Wait.
And then, of course, you have Donald Trump's statement that he made where he says the January 6th hoax, he defames E. Jean Carroll. That's what Donald Trump's been spending the day doing after all this. He spent the day saying that the woman who he was found liable for sexually assaulting, that he never knew her. He was too scared to show up at the civil trial, but now he's defaming her more. That's how he's spending the day. And saying January 6th is a hoax. Some dangerous rhetoric there, but sometimes it's the simple things, too, that speak volumes. President Biden calling up the family of the individual who was just there protecting his family, was a Trump supporter, but that's not going to stop President Biden from giving a call. And Donald Trump refusing to call, not saying anything to the family. And then the family so radicalized they won't pick up Biden's call. Sad. All very sad. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.